Welcome back to Introduction to Cinema 4D. In this episode, we'll be diving into the fascinating world of primitive objects. These basic shapes will serve as the building blocks for your 3D creations. So let's dive right in. In Cinema 4D, creating primitive objects is a breeze. Let's start by selecting the Create menu at the top and then choosing Primitive. Here, you'll find a wide range of predefined primitive shapes, such as cubes, spheres, cylinders, and more. These shapes provide a quick and easy way to get started with your 3D modeling. Let's begin with the cube primitive. Click on it, and you'll notice that your cursor changes to a crosshair. Now simply click and drag in the viewport to define the size of your cube. You can create a small cube by dragging a short distance or a larger one by dragging further. Great! You've just created your first primitive object, but what if you want to adjust its parameters further? Well, we can do that in the Attributes Manager. To access the Attributes Manager, go to the right-hand side of the interface and click on the Object tab. Here, you'll find all the settings and properties related to your selected object. Let's say you want to modify the size of the cube. In the Object tab, you'll find parameters like size or scale. Adjust these values to your desired dimensions, and you'll see the cube update in real time. But what if you want a different primitive shape? Well, Cinema 4D offers a variety of options. For example, let's select the Sphere primitive. Click and drag in the viewport to define the size of your sphere, just like we did with the cube. And don't worry, you can always modify its parameters later in the Attributes Manager if needed. Now, let's explore a few more primitive objects. You have the cylinder, cone, torus, and even more complex shapes like platonic or motext. Each primitive object has its own unique set of parameters that you can modify to achieve the desired shape and size. Feel free to experiment with different options and see what works best for your project. Remember, these primitives are just the starting point. As you progress in your Cinema 4D journey, you'll learn how to combine, modify, and sculpt these basic shapes to create intricate and unique models. One last tip before we wrap up this episode. If you want to duplicate a primitive object, simply select it in the viewport, then go to the Edit menu and choose Duplicate, or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+D or Command+D on a Mac. Duplicating objects can save you time and allow you to experiment with different arrangements and configurations. So, to summarize, primitive objects in Cinema 4D provide a quick and easy way to create basic shapes for your 3D scenes. You can modify their parameters in the Attributes Manager to achieve the desired size, shape, and properties. In the next episode, we'll dive deeper into the exciting world of modeling techniques, where we'll explore more advanced ways to create and shape objects in Cinema 4D. Remember, practice makes perfect, so take some time to experiment with different primitives and unleash your creativity. Thanks for watching this extended episode of Introduction to Cinema 4D. I hope you found it helpful in understanding the process of creating primitive objects. Stay tuned for more in-depth tutorials and techniques in our upcoming episodes. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Introduction to Cinema 4D.